You already know what it feels like. The message that arrives only when they need something. The invitation that comes after everyone else said no. The conversation where they are fully present, warm, engaged, exactly the person you wanted them to be, until they got what they came for. And then the silence. Not the dramatic silence of a fight or a falling out. The quiet, comfortable silence of someone who has filed you under available when needed and moved on to the rest of their life. And you, because you are the kind of person who gives people the benefit of the doubt, because you understand that people are busy and life is complicated and nobody is perfect, made an excuse for them, again, and stayed available, again. Because the alternative, saying something, drawing a line, treating yourself with the same care you extend to everyone else, felt more dangerous than the option. Maya Angelou said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, not the 5th time, not the 10th time, the first time." And most people reading this are somewhere between the 5th and the 15th time, still deciding whether to believe it. This video is not about cutting people off. It is not about becoming cold or building walls or deciding that people cannot be trusted. It is about one specific skill that nobody taught you, that changes everything about how people treat you. The skill of responding instead of absorbing. Before I tell you how to respond, I need to tell you why you have not been responding. Because the reason is not what most people think. It is not weakness. It is not low self-worth in the simple sense. It is something more specific and more interesting than that. You have been trained by a series of early experiences to associate speaking up for yourself with losing the relationship. Think about the first time you tried to express that something was not okay. Not now. Early. When you were young enough that the relationships around you were not choices, they were survival. And the response to your expression was not, "Thank you for telling me. Let me do better." It was distance or anger, or the specific withdrawal of warmth that told you, when you make your needs known, people leave, or they make it worse, or they make you feel like the problem for having needs at all. And your brain, which is extraordinarily good at learning from pain, filed that away. Speaking up costs you the relationship. Staying quiet keeps it. And you have been operating on that equation in relationships where it was never actually true, ever since. Psychologists call this learned silence, the specific pattern of someone who has the words, has the awareness, has the completely legitimate right to say something, and cannot make themselves do it. Because the nervous system remembers a time when doing it cost them something they could not afford to lose. Robert Greene wrote in The 48 Laws of Power, "Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies." And while that is deliberately provocative, the underlying truth matters. The people who treat you like an option are not treating you that way because you deserve it. They are treating you that way because you have taught them through consistent availability that it is permitted. So here is what you actually do. Not a speech, not a confrontation, not a carefully worded text drafted and redrafted for 3 hours before you send it. 3 things, in order, starting today. First, you stop being immediately available, not as a punishment, not as a game, but because immediate availability sends one message: my time is less important than your need. And when your time is less important than their need, You are an option, not a person, an option. The practical application of this is simple. When someone who treats you like an option reaches out, you respond when it is convenient for you. Not urgently, not anxiously, not with the energy of someone grateful to have been remembered. With the energy of someone whose time has value, because it does. Second, you name what is happening. Once, without anger, not a list of grievances, not a historical inventory of every time they let you down. One sentence. Something like, I have noticed that we tend to connect when you need something. I would like this to be more balanced. That is it. No ultimatum, no emotional intensity, no performance. Just an observation stated clearly. And then you wait. Because their response to that sentence will tell you everything you need to know about whether this relationship is worth continuing to invest in. The person who values you will hear it and adjust. The person who is using you will either disappear or minimize what you said, or make you feel unreasonable for saying it. And whichever response arrives is the most honest information you have received from that person in the entire time you have known them. Third, you enforce the pattern by your actions, not your words. This is the one nobody talks about, because most people say the thing and then go back to the old behavior. They name the pattern and then are immediately available the next time the person reaches out. And the pattern continues, because words without change behavior teach people that you will say things, but nothing will actually change. Change behavior, without excessive explanation, is the only language that consistently produces change treatment. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." And I want to apply that specifically here. You cannot control whether someone chooses to treat you as a priority. You can only control what you make available to them when they do not. Now here is the part that will be uncomfortable. Some of the people treating you like an option are people you love, not strangers, not acquaintances you can easily distance yourself from. People who matter to you, who have history with you, who you have built genuine parts of your life around. And the instruction to respond differently, to stop being immediately available, to name what is happening, feels in those cases less like empowerment and more like grief. Because what you are actually confronting, when you decide to stop accepting option-level treatment from someone you love, is the possibility that they might not rise to meet you, that they might prefer the old dynamic, that the relationship you have been maintaining through consistent giving might be revealed as something less substantial than you believed, when you stop being the only one holding it together. And that is a loss, a real one, even when it is the correct thing to do. James Baldwin, one of the most honest voices in American literature, wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Nothing can be changed until it is faced." And facing the fact that someone you love has been treating you like an option is one of the most specific and private forms of courage that exists. Not the courage of grand gestures, not the courage that gets witnessed and applauded, the courage of a quiet, private decision to treat yourself with the same seriousness you have always treated them. You are not an option. You were never an option. You were a person who accepted option-level treatment because you believed that being chosen eventually was worth the wait. It is not. The people who are right for your life do not make you wait to be chosen. They choose you consistently, without you having to engineer the conditions for them to remember that you exist. If this is the kind of honest conversation you have been looking for, I make one of these every week. You know where to find me.